Steven, are we still live on Twitter?
Yeah.
No, for now. For now. And hopefully if you're right there.
Well, the first goal of the World Cup was scored just now, and it was a
Jesus.
banger.
That was
That was
fast.
that was sick. You see that?
Qatar and Ecuador?
Boom. Yeah. Qatar in Ecuador. I call it Qatar.
Qatar.
I don't know if it's Qatar or Qatar, but I think it's Qatar.
Whatever.
Pretty sure it's Qatar.
So are you more into the football or football today?
Football. I'm more into the football tomorrow because, well, you got the Niners in Mexico City. It's a tale of two halves because tomorrow is the first day of Group B.
Or a tale of two kitties?
With what?
Garfield. Anyway, go ahead.
Oh. I'm sorry that I did not get your reference for the sequel to Garfield.
Many would, Steven. Many would.
No, it's not tomorrow's when it really gets started though. That's when the Group B begins. So you got England and Iran, and then you got USA versus Wales at 11 o'clock tomorrow. England, Iran
Wales.
at 5 a.m.
I heard there. Yeah, so the old FIFA run by my man Gianni Infantino, fellow paisano. Did I get his name right?
I'm sure you did.
You don't know the guy that owns or runs FIFA?
Well, it might be Yanni, but you know,
if he's a true Italian, it's Gianni.
Really?
It's not Yanni. Ginnni. That's Gianni.
Maybe not like the Yanni or Laurel thing, not like Yanni, but like Yanni.
No.
Yanni.
Yanni's with a Y. Gianni. All right. Anyway, stop it. It's nice of the FIFA people today just to schedule one match 2 hours before football starts. So I commend them for that because they know what the hell's going on.
They did not even think about the NFL when scheduling their matches.
Are meeting with the Fox people and being like, hey, it's in the best interest for your American viewing audience that you put this thing 2 hours before football starts.
Well, if this thing was in the USA, they'd be like, all right, NFL, get out the way. We're going to take over now. We are the global game. We are the ones that are going to be getting the viewers.
I mean, I don't pretend like soccer's not a big deal. Of course it is. And soccer may be more entertaining than football these days, just because I think we're getting not great football. But so how long do soccer games usually last?
So it's 90 minutes.
I know it's 90 minutes on the pitch.
Yeah,
but so then they have extra time.
Yeah, you have extra time, so you might get like, I don't know, at the most two minutes in the first half, and then by the time the game's coming to an end, you probably get like at the most, on average, like 5. So,
we're not going to get. So hopefully, we're not going to get Kurt Menefee and everybody from the Fox, live pregame being like, all right, everybody, we will get to the NFL as soon as possible. Once this game is underway, we'll get to your local broadcast.
Yeah, I don't know how that's going to work. I'm very curious because it's always in the summer. So it's never gone up against the NFL, which is very interesting.
And believe me, I know the World Cup trumps everything when it comes to a global game, but this has got to be very weird for American sports fans and American TV networks to carry this time of the year.
Yeah. Well, you got to blame it on the area, though. Like, the reason that they're not playing during the summer is because it's too hot. And dude, I've been like, so I've watched 2 documentaries this past week.
The one on Netflix?
Yeah, I watched that one.
Yeah, I heard about that one.
And then there was an E60 where Jeremy Schaap didn't really do like, it wasn't necessarily
ESPN.
Exactly. It wasn't necessarily a hit piece, but it was like a mix. It was like a promotion for the World Cup, but it was also like a total hit piece on it being in Qatar. So
Qatar.
Yeah, but no, it's like the reason that they're having these games now is because it's just too hot during the summer there, and also the pandemic too. That pushed things back. But
the old pandy played a big role. But
yeah,
up with Qatar and not letting people drink.
I know, right? They're banning beer, Bud Zeros. You could get a Bud Zero.
Ugh.
But it's just, I don't know. I go back and forth with this because Like they had to
sorry to interrupt, but it's 0-0 again. And they take the goal away?
Ooh, I don't know.
I don't know how this crazy game works.
Maybe they did. Yeah, it might have been offside. Ooh, that's brutal.
What a way for the World Cup to start. Failure. Take that, Gianni.
But no, it's just seeing how everything was like built on the backs of these Qatari migrant workers. Well, not even Qatari. They're Nepalese. They're from India, I believe, too. Like a lot of migrant workers got killed just due to heat
just
exhaustion.
So we could have soccer?
Yeah, like because they had to build, I think, 9 stadiums, if I'm not mistaken.
And how long?
Ever since 2012. Ever since it was announced. I think it was announced in 2012. So, like, yeah, they've been spending the past 10 years like just building all these stadiums. I think I could be completely wrong. Maybe it's like a total of 9, 8. So you saying 8. Yeah, there you go.
8's enough.
So yeah, but like I think they estimated before that it would be like 5,000 people dead, and that was like back in 2012. And yeah, that's about what the number's at.
Hope it's worth it.
So it's like,
good Lord.
It's like you're watching it, but also I can't help but think like, man, this thing is morally wrong on a variety of levels. But you know, it is what it is. It's the World Cup, baby.
What happened to my man Gianni?
It wasn't your man Gianni. It was your man Sepp Blatter.
I want to be friends with any man with the last name Blatter.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, Blatter, it's Blatter, but yeah,
Blatter.
Yeah, it's crazy actually, just how the FIFA Uncovered thing just shows how it's been corrupt ever since its inception, all the way till now. Like, and Sepp Blatter had a huge part of that. I don't know if Gianni Infantino or whatever his name is going to change everything, but we'll see. FIFA. Whew.
Well, hopefully they get to the bottom of this and the bladder bursts.
It's all right. Let's move on.
Okay. Welcome everybody to Just Your Opinion, man. Me and Steven are talking about the World Cup as it's underway, and I think it's pretty cool, actually. So next week we'll have off for Thanksgiving, and you get to watch a little soccer, get to watch a little basketball, get to watch a little football. I think it's cool, as long as it doesn't get in the way of my football. But hey, we'll be all good.
Make sure you catch me live on Thanksgiving. I'll be giving you updates all Thanksgiving long.
You working Thanksgiving?
Yeah, man. I volunteered.
Okay. Hey, good for you. Yeah. I am actually looking forward to Thanksgiving because for the first time in 3 seasons, I will actually get to celebrate Thanksgiving. I've been working in the studio at NFL Network the last 3 seasons, working on Lions and whoever the fuck, and I'm glad I could just watch that game and shit on it from my couch. Not gonna shit on my couch, but you get the idea. Anyway, by the way, we are live on Twitter, and everybody freaked out Thursday night saying that Twitter was going to be not a thing anymore. And God, I was hoping that was the case because I hate this thing. I hate it so much, and I wish sports reporters would just find other avenues or platforms to break news, but we still need it because that's how we get news these days.
Is that it?
Yes.
You got to keep going?
Hopefully this thing blows up. Anyway.
Honestly. Yeah, what is going on with Twitter, man? Like, I've been keeping up, obviously, with Elon Musk, but like, I really haven't read the details. All I've been doing is reading tweets.
I don't really know the details too. All I know is that this app is imploding day by day, by day by day,
day
by day. And Jeff Passan has already started breaking news on Instagram, and I'm not getting an Instagram. But we'll see what happens. Because I just don't want to. I'm stern in my ways.
That's fine. That makes sense.
Right, it is. Yeah, we'll see what the longevity of this thing is, because people got to know where Odell Beckham's going to sign, and it sounds like it's down to the Cowboys and Giants. I'm surprised about the Giants.
What about the Niners? I saw the Niners were on that list.
So a new report came out today from Old Rap Sheet and Tom Pelissero where Odell Beckham is going to the Thanksgiving game between the Giants and Cowboys, and apparently he's going to meet with both teams after the game or before the game, and he will make his decision shortly after that.
I'm kind of tired of Odell Beckham, to be honest. Yeah, like who does he think he is? Kevin Durant? It's just like you think, oh, whatever team you go to, you're just going to turn it into a championship-winning team.
Well,
even though he did that with the Rams last year.
Yeah. So you're saying that this is a flawed system?
I'm just like, what he goes to the game and, oh man, we got to play for Odell. We got to get OBJ in the building. Like, I don't know. I just don't really.
Well, if you went back to the Giants, I think he'd be yelling at Daniel Jones and it'd be a whole thing. I'm not even sure going to the Cowboys is a good move because you really get to, I mean, like, yeah, it's, Jerry Jones can woo you, but at the same time, like, you sure Mike McCarthy's going to be there next season?
Yeah, but it's not Mike McCarthy that he's going to be, playing with, though. It's Kellen Moore, right?
Kellen Moore or Dan Quinn or Sean Payton.
Like it's not even the coaches that's the appeal for it. Isn't it more like, hey, they're kind of lacking wide receivers right now.
Yeah, but
I'm going to be able to get the ball.
Don't you want to go to a place with more stability? Like, I don't believe that Josh Allen or Sean McDermott will be gone next season.
Yeah, I mean, I would have. I was saying, I think at the beginning, like I'd much rather be on the Bills if I was OBJ. I think didn't we talk about that last week?
We did, and I think that
I'd rather if I was OBJ, I'd go to the Bills.
After watching that Bills-Vikings game, which was hands down the game of the year, the Bills are fine, but they could use a little help. Like Isaiah McKenzie's their third wide receiver, and he's all right. But if you had Odell, Gabe Davis, and Stephon Diggs, you probably have the best receiving core in football.
No doubt. I mean, like Gabe Davis is solid, but I don't like Gabe Davis as a number 2. Weirdly enough, it's strange.
I do when he's scoring 4 touchdowns in a playoff game against the Chiefs.
True. Yeah. He's he's proven himself quite a bit. I don't
know. What'd you think of that game last week, the Bills and Vikings?
Just insanity, man. Like, because the way that it was, I was at Rookies. So
San Jose.
Yes. So we were sitting at the bar and 2 TVs on the end, and you had one that had Red Zone, and you had the other that had oh God, who were the Titans playing last week?
Broncos.
Yeah. You had Titans Broncos on the other screen. So while we're sitting there making fun of Russell Wilson, on the big screen they had Bills Vikings. So you kind of had to like turn around, and God, there were multiple times in that game where I turned around and I was like, oh, that play is going to turn out that way. All right, I want to see what's happening on Red Zone right now. And then I when you're in that football watching move and it's like, all right, when one play's done, you want to move on. I turn around and I'm like, oh, that play's over. That play's done. They're not going to call that. And then like, oh, what did he know? And then like I see the 4th and 18 with Justin Jefferson. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Just that performance, like going back and watching some of the highlights, and after watching it live, I was pretty confident in this, but like that is one of the best wide receiver performances like ever. The amount of difficult catches, the timing, the fact that they knew he was going to be the number 1 the entire week, and he said, hey, I'm going to prove to you, like, hey, this is going to be the wide receiver on wide receiver match, but it's not going to be just one of us. And it turned out that both of them went off. So but yeah, one of the greatest wide receiver performances by Justin Jefferson. Just unbelievable.
Yeah, no, great game. I'm not ready to call it the best catch of all time. You got to let it marinate a little bit. But, spectacular performance. Bad performance by Josh Allen. Really bad turnovers. I thought the Bills could have pissed that game away. Going for it on 4th down early in the 4th quarter. And then the fumbled snap in the end zone. I don't know what the hell that was about.
I'm pretty sure he has multiple interceptions in the past 3 games, and it's the first time that's happened since like his rookie year or maybe his second year in the league.
He's struggling a little bit, but I still would put him as the favorite to win MVP at this point. Everyone goes through a little skid. I mean, the Rams lost 3 in a row last year. And also, I'm kind of upset about this. They would have had such a home field advantage today if they played this game in Buffalo. And I understand it was 6 feet of snow and the whole stadium was covered. You could have plowed that shit before the game and everything. It would have been so cool to watch the game today in the snow.
Could they really, though?
Probably not. It's probably the safest thing to do.
Wasn't this in preparation for a snowstorm? Like, isn't that the whole point?
But I don't remember this stuff happening in the 90s. They always played in Orchard Park with a bunch of snow.
In the 90s?
Yeah.
That was
It was a
30 years
time.
ago. That was 30 years ago almost.
Things happened before we were born.
Almost 30 years ago, Derek.
And?
Don't they want to make the game a little safer for the players?
You can play in the snow. Come on. It would have been so cool to watch Nick Chubb. And actually, the Browns may have had a more of an advantage against the Bills because they can't really run the ball, and yet they play in Buffalo.
Yeah.
I'm just saying,
it would have turned into Bills Patriots from last year.
A little bit. But if there was a playoff game in Buffalo and they have 6 feet of snow again, they got to play that game in Buffalo. Sorry. Can't move that game to Detroit.
All right. That's fine.
All right.
I mean, they were lucky they even got out of Buffalo.
Yeah, they had a small window yesterday where they could hop on a plane and go to Detroit. I saw a video of Dawson Knox having his neighbors kind of, dig out his driveway of snow so he can leave and go. Yeah, you're probably right. It was probably in the best interest of them going to Detroit, but it would have been so cool if that game was in Buffalo.
Yeah, no, I get where you're coming from.
We will get to the Raiders, and I want your reaction from all that bullshit from a week ago.
Oh, God.
I know. But real quick, Steven.
Yeah.
Warriors. Won on Friday night. So what are they, 7-9 now?
Yeah.
A little full football season. All right, now it's 17 games. And today, they have a chance to get their first road win. I'm surprised I'm saying this. Their first road win of the season against the Houston Rockets. Do they get it done?
I think so. Yeah, but I haven't seen much Rockets basketball this year, to be honest. But there's something going on with the Warriors right now. Like, it doesn't matter until March, ultimately. Like, every Warrior fan should know that. What happens in November doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. But right now, with the way the team is playing, like, I'm 50-50 on whether they could pick up a road win. When they're on the road, this team can't defend. Like, I don't even care about what goes on offense, like the lack of bench scoring or, maybe Klay Thompson having yet another inefficient game, even in the win on Friday. Like,
he played well.
He was fine, but like, it's the defense, man. It's just constant, terrible defense every single game. And this is probably going to be a really high scoring one. I'd take the over on whatever the over under is for tonight. I don't know. I'm indifferent about it because I just don't know how to feel about the Warriors right now.
I think that they look fine when they're home, and then they just don't have a lot of energy on the road, and they are just lollygagging a little bit. And Steve Kerr, called them out and said everything that he needed to say, but I just don't think that they're 100% invested in the season right now because it's so early, and I just think there's a lackadaisical attitude.
I think there's a lot of carryover from the offseason. Yeah. A lot of carryover, whether it's like, like someone put it perfectly. There's like just too many individual accolade chasing right now. Like just too much, Poole, like just trying to come back from the punch on Draymond. Draymond trying to prove that he's worth like the 4-year max extension that he wanted.
By the way, we haven't heard a podcast from Draymond in a while.
We haven't, huh?
I think he's trying to. I mean, every time Jordan Poole falls to the ground, he's the first guy there to pick him up. Yeah. He's not talking as much. Maybe for the best.
Yeah. He's it's just. Yeah, there's a lot there. And then all these young guys trying to prove that they are, the next they could take over in the post Steph Curry era. There's just a lot going on right now. And then you got JaMychal Green, who's just not good.
Yeah. But then again, it's early. I remember a lot of people.
It is early, but man, JaMychal Green's not that good.
I know, but I remember a lot of people crapping on Otto Porter Jr. When he first got to the Warriors.
Were they?
A little bit.
Not as much as JaMychal Green.
I know, yeah. My JaMychal Green's not playing well. And so is Klay Thompson, but I think that he'll get over it soon. Just kind of a weird deal right now. I know Klay's going through a lot, and he had that podcast article, I guess, with Ramona Shelburne talking about coming back from the injury and everything. And I think it would be in the best interest of Klay Thompson if we get past all that. I think that he needs to focus on the here and now. And I know it's a lot to ask for because I wasn't in that situation. I wasn't the one that had his Achilles and ACL torn. But I think we need to get to Kaiser Permanente, Klay Thompson, where he's talking to the late, great Michael K. Williams and saying that failure is not a factor. I know how to defeat you. We need to get more confident, Klay Thompson, in the here and now. And yes, the Achilles and ACL tear was devastating, but let's live in the now.
Isn't it kind of proof, though? Like, Klay was a, fan favorite, right? Yeah. Like, it's pretty confident to say that he's been a fan favorite. Like, the treatment that Kevin Durant was given after he won his championship with the Warriors, it was still the same old thing. Even after winning 2, like, that's part of what got him back in that 2018-2019 season was like the fact that he'd won 2 championships with the Warriors. And even the following season, every day, if he doesn't do something, if he doesn't pass the ball enough, if he plays too much ISO, if people are telling him what to do, then he's going to go crazy at the fan base. And like, he's like, I've done this for you. I got these last 2 championships. I was the finals MVP, and then, and now Klay's kind of, it's proof now that even with a guy like Klay who comes back from injury and you win those 4 championships, like if you underperform the following season, people are going to call you out on it. And I think Klay is, kind of just at that point where he's like, what the hell are you calling me out for? I just won you 4 championships. Like, I'll get this, right? Like, stop putting pressure on me. And I think it's really getting to him. You could tell on the court sometimes, man, that like after he takes a shot, you could tell like he's kind of in his head.
I think it's not so much the criticism, like, well, he doesn't like Charles Barkley calling him out and everything. And back in the day, he would let that just roll off his back. But now I think the 2 years in somewhat isolation. I mean, that stuff happened during the pandemic too, so I don't know his whole situation there. And we saw the videos of him riding around, on his boat. I'm sure mentally it was a lot. So, and I don't want to play, psychologist on here. Yeah. So I just hope that Klay gets back to form. And yes, in sports, everyone else, they always say they could never take it away from you or no one could talk shit about you now. That's not the case. It's always a year-to-year thing. You see the LA Rams win a Super Bowl championship, and now people are saying that was a fraudulent championship. You can never satisfy everybody.
No, you never can. But I think Klay's starting to realize that now because it feels like he has been like kind of the guy that could do no wrong. And now when there's a lot of pressure on Klay, it's not when he's with the starting 5. It's more so when they rotate guys and he doesn't become like a liability where he's just putting up shots with, 18 seconds left on the shot clock. Like it's a very interesting thing that's going on with Klay right now. And I don't know if it's mental or whatever. And as far as like the defense goes, I do think he's absolutely like a step slower.
Yeah.
Like there's something to that. It's very strange how Poole just plays that much better with the starters, and then everyone's kind of saying, well, we need to put Poole with the starters. Like, no, you don't need to do that. Like, you need to maximize Klay Thompson. Like, you don't need to maximize Jordan Poole. That's not it. Once you get Klay Thompson going, all right, that's when things really start cooking. And then, you don't give Jordan Poole a reason to think, oh, well, maybe he should be a starter, Make Jordan Poole think that he has to be coming off the bench. I just went on a huge rant there. I apologize.
No, hey, it's, rants happen. It's all good.
And what do you think about the team? What do you think about the team meeting? Ernie says.
What team meeting took place?
No, they had one prior to Friday's game. Yeah.
Teams have team meetings.
I think Ernie, that's exactly that's what they should be doing, They should be meeting together. Like, if they weren't having team meetings, I'd be a little worried. Who was it that had a player? It was who the Warriors just played. It was the Knicks. Yeah, they just had like a players only meeting. They had to already go through that, and they were off to an 8-7 start to the season, I think. So it's like, yeah.
What do you prefer? Player only meetings or player only broadcasts?
Ooh, I'd say player only meetings are a lot more productive.
You like the Run TMC broadcast?
Of course I did. It was fantastic. I was laughing the entire time when they were just like, although there were some times where it was like, all right, it's getting to a little bit of a lull here. That's
well, that's why my man Tom picked it up. Thank God for Tom Tolbert, and because there were some questionable things said in the broadcast. I won't. Yeah, we all know the clip, but Tom interviewing Greg Popovich and Steve Kerr, I think, were the highlights of the night, and it was just fun. I don't know if they'll do it again for obvious reasons, but I think that it was a fun broadcast.
No, it's a good idea. I like it when any broadcast, can branch out and try something different. I think a Run TMC broadcast is just a genius idea. Because like fans love that stuff, but I will say that if the NBA's players only broadcast is an indicator of like what it's probably going to look like, and it's probably not going to go that great, because I like TMC because I have an affinity to them. But like the NBA TV one, the players only broadcast, it's like, eesh,
I know.
This is brutal.
But I did love Mully's voice just being like, all right, hey, there's Tom Tolbert with Jody Poole. Hey!
Yeah. When he was reading the sponsors, that was like the highlight. He was so good.
Come see Carrie Underwood. That chick can sing, baby.
Yeah.
Making him sound like Frank Sinatra.
Something along those lines, yeah.
Real quick before we get to some football here, finally. Where do you come down on this ladder situation with Giannis and Montrezl Harrell? Did you see this yesterday or Friday night?
I didn't watch the video. What happened?
So Giannis had a rough game with some free throws, and the Sixers ended up winning. And after the game, Giannis is playing in Philadelphia. I don't know what the protocol is or the time frame you need to get back on the bus and leave, but Giannis wanted to spend some time putting up some free throws after the game. And it's not his home court. People have to do things after the game for maintenance and the hoops and whatnot. And then Montrezl Harrell took the ball away from Giannis. He said, "You guys lost. Go home. This isn't your court. Get out of here." And Giannis then proceeded to find another basketball and started putting up free throws. But then maintenance guys, the crew, had to adjust the hoops. So they get a ladder and put it in front of the hoop that he was going after. And Giannis goes up to the guy and says, "I'm trying to get some work in." He's like, "We got to do some work, man." And Giannis pushes the ladder away. And the guy's like, No. The ladder needs to be here. I don't know what to tell you." And then Giannis pushes it so much that the ladder falls to the ground. And now everyone's like, "Oh my God, Giannis hates ladders." But also, I don't know. And I, want to talk to, obviously I work with a former NBA player. I would love to know, what is the protocol after a basketball game? If it is not your home court, if you are the away player, do you have the right and then to say, like, "I'm going to stay here and get some work in" when it's not your court? At the same time, if you're Mike Budenholzer, are you like, "Hey, Giannis, get on the bus. We need to get out of here"? I don't have an opinion on it. I just want to know what is the right opinion, to be honest.
I don't know what's the right opinion. To be honest, I don't know what the... I don't know, to be honest.
To get honest with Giannis.
Yeah. Honestly? Do I have a problem with it? Antetokounmpo, no. But...
All right. Enough, Steven. Just answer the damn question. None of these damn puns.
But do I care? Antetokounmpo, no.
All right, fair enough. Let's move on then.
It's just a random thing, man. Yeah, for sure. I don't really know.
Yeah.
I that's a non sequitur for me, but yeah, it's a very weird thing that we like to put to the forefront of the media and the news.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, and it's knocked over a ladder.
I saw yesterday, I guess it was the 18th anniversary of the Malice at the Palace, and someone tweeted out, "Damn, if you think this video is intense, watch Giannis pushing over a ladder."
Yeah. Just don't be putting Christmas lights up, in a time when Giannis does not want Christmas lights up. Like, could you imagine like doing it before Thanksgiving? No, not before Thanksgiving. Then he pushes the ladder over when you're trying to put up Christmas lights.
Yeah, I'm sure Giannis would do that.
I'm making a Christmas analogy, Derek.
Very nice.
Full
All right,
circle.
Steven, we've prolonged this long enough. Give me your thoughts on the Raiders' loss last week. Is it the most embarrassing loss in Raiders history?
I can't say I'm like too surprised because, well, here's the biggest thing. Like, the Colts, if Jeff Saturday's your head coach, okay, fine. Like, really, what he's going to do, his primary job is going to be motivate the players and just don't do anything stupid with the challenge flag or the timeout flag or the challenge flag. Don't do anything.
Don't be Nathaniel Hackett.
Yes, and don't be stupid with timeouts. Like, that's all you that was like the three main jobs. And one of those, like, we were saying all this stuff, you know, it's like Bill Cowher calling out the hiring of the Colts. Joe Thomas was another one. And then Mad Dog Russo went on to call out those guys, which was hilarious. I don't know if you heard any of his rant, but he's like, did you have any prior experience to broadcasting? You think that you could do this? What, you just hire Bill Cowher? Did he cut his teeth in Idaho calling minor league baseball? You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing.
Then if that becomes a thing about him, right?
Yes, it became a thing about how you need experience in broadcasting. It's great. Hold
on. Can I shit on that real quick?
Yeah.
When you are a former player, your experience is playing the game.
Yeah, I know, right? That's the best part.
As in the words of Kendrick Perkins, carry the hell on.
Yeah, that's the best part. But what was I going to say? So with all that being said, with all the issues with the coaching hire, like the players we're going to want to play for him. Like, it's Jeff Saturday. It's a former Colt. I'm sure that he knows these guys. I'm sure he's met them before this. I'm sure it's not like Jeff Saturday you've never, like, I guarantee you Jeff Saturday's been to a training camp where he's met a few of the guys.
Well, he's an advisor to the team, so he knows them. But at the same time, it's a mixed thing of, you know, yeah, we know Jeff Saturday, but also like, damn, Jeff's going to coach us? What about these guys that we were, you know, fighting with all season?
Right, for sure. But I do think the players wanted to play for them, and I think you saw a difference with two teams in which the coach really motivates their players. I don't think McDaniels motivates these dudes on the Raiders at all. Like, they just don't have any fire, you know? And when Derek Carr goes to the podium afterwards, and we'll get to that. We'll get to Carr.
Speak it on now, man. Speak it on now.
Well, I mean, like, when he says something to the effect of
sleep at night.
Yes, like the amount that we put our bodies through just to wake up, you know, and all that sort of stuff. Like, as he's given this passion speech, but then he also says, like, players need to buy in. Yeah. And then McDaniels is saying, well, there's not really an issue with players buying in. Well, there's clearly something wrong there that the players aren't communicating with the coaches. Yep. Because I don't know, man. I just think that's what it showed. You had a 30-year-old assistant calling plays who was hungry to do that, living out his first dream. And he's doing it against a Raiders defense, which is just totally lost right now and can't stop anything. So,
including a 40-yard Matt Ryan run.
You remember what we said last week, dude?
Jonathan Taylor?
We said last week the Raiders are that team where if like a star player is maybe slumping right now, that's where he's going to break out. And Jonathan Taylor did just that. I was not surprised when he did that.
Yeah. No.
So
man of the house
about it, man. It's just and you're in the offense can barely put up points. You know,
is Jonathan Taylor in man of the house?
Yes, Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
Yeah,
that's the name of one of my fantasy teams. Jonathan Taylor. What? No, that's Home Improvement. Well, Home Improvement.
He's on that too.
You're mixing too many different things, man.
Just good at references. Anyway,
you're mixing Jonathan Taylor references. Like, I'll Be Home for Christmas later on. All right.
Oh, great movie. Great movie.
It's a terrible movie.
I just love that Jonathan Taylor Thomas plays like a 40-year-old man. He's in college. The way he speaks, he's like, "Hey, he's like talking to girls in like college. Be like, all right, I'll get you tickets to the Dave Matthews Band concert when I come back. All right, say."
Well, I like how he I realized how much of a jerk he is when I went
Oh,
to
he's
college,
a jerk at that movie. He's a jerk at that movie.
and I realized like how critical it is or crucial it is for you to go home and see your family during the Christmas break. People can't wait for that. And he's like, nah, nah, I'm good. I don't want to go home for Christmas. I'm all right. Like it's just funny. But anyway, back to the Raiders and Colts thing. Like I was sitting afterwards and thinking, I was just like, man, I'm not shocked. Like I'm not surprised. It's always the Raiders where this happens.
Yeah.
And now the Colts are going to suck from here on out. Like that's going to be their high point of the season. And now the Colts are going to suck. Like today, whenever we do our wins or wangs segment, I'm not picking the Colts. They're going to lose today. If they even play today, do they have a bye week?
They play.
Okay.
They play the Eagles. We'll get to it. And I'm in agreement with you, Steven. I think that last week was an anomaly because they're playing the Raiders. And the Raiders have their own, like, despite how dysfunctional the Colts are and Jim Irsay's crazy ass, which, by the way, Jim Irsay, the Jim Irsay Band, coming to Bill Graham this December.
Oh, no.
Love to see it. I brought this up with Alon. I think it's one of the most embarrassing losses in Raiders history. I think that Josh McDaniels to lose to that team, especially a team that he declined to be the head coach of, I think that's got to eat at you. And if you're not pissed off about that, then you lack competitiveness. I know you're not going to show it to the media, but like that's got to be really embarrassing to turn that team down, have a new team, and then a guy with no coaching experience beat you. I commend Jeff Saturday for what he did, but also I don't expect much from here on out. Derek Carr crying, it was a little much, but I know he's gone through a lot with the organization, and it may just be that Derek is realizing that this could be the end. I know Dan Graziano had a report that the Raiders could release him after this season. That's not really anything new. That's part of the contract. But also at the same time, wouldn't you rather trade Derek Carr and get some value on him?
Well, I also got to say, like just focusing on the press conference and, without even thinking about that stuff. Cause yeah, you're right. You're probably going to end up doing that. Most likely not going to give him the option. I don't know where they go from here with the quarterback, but what's fascinating, man, I'm not going to say I've sat here and watched every single Derek Carr press conference, but there were a lot where you'd speak to the media and like at first kind of nervous, just trying to say the right things.
Mm-hmm.
And then he got really good at being a quarterback at the podium, and he happened to say all the right things.
Oh, man.
Right? But no matter what went down, like no matter with the John Gruden stuff, with the Henry Ruggs stuff, he kind of kept his cool there a little bit. Like obviously he was, you're naturally going to be super emotional at the podium when something like that happens. But from 2014 all the way to now, like if you go back and watch those Gruden and Ruggs press conferences where Derek Carr had to speak afterwards, he's standing still at the podium, just answering questions. Sure, he's got tears, but watching that press conference last week, like I get a text from Spadoni, Joe Spadoni. I get a text from him. He says Carr's crying at the podium right now. So I immediately went to the Raiders Twitter because I know that they go live with the pressers, and then I went to watch it. And I'm watching it stunned. My jaw was dropped because in my head, we're watching a man broken. Like this man, his spirit, this incredibly high spirit that he has, a spirit that like a lot of people kind of call it corny a little bit,
mm-hmm.
And it even led to like an article, this past year where Mike Sando basically like let defensive coordinators just call out the guys on offense, and one of them called like Carr a little dorky, but that spirit that he's shown at the podium, gone. Like the way that he was, kind of looking
swaying.
I don't know, maybe he was like, maybe he was auditioning for the NFL on Fox pregame and postgame shows, because all those guys do is sway back and forth whenever they're standing. They can't stand still. It's unbelievable. Just
put them on Sway in the morning.
Seriously. Next time you watch it, it's just it is Sway in the morning, dude. They just go back and forth like this. They can't sit still, especially Tony Gonzalez. He does it great. But anyway, my original point though, like I've just I haven't seen him broken before, and just watching a man break down in that way.
Yeah.
just, oh my gosh, I got a little emotional too watching that because I'm like, this guy, granted, do I like what he's been doing? No. Do I think that he's earned himself another 2 years? No. But man, that guy has been so dedicated. It's just, and he's said all the right things, and he's tried to be, Mr. Team and all that, but like, man, it's just now it's kind of come crashing down, and now he's just swaying back and forth, just emotional. It's crazy, man. It was crazy.
Because I think a little bit of him thinks that maybe this could be the end for me, and
Yeah.
he knows how much he loves the Raiders. He is on record saying that I'd rather retire than go play for another team. We'll see if that's put to the test this offseason. I don't know if that needs to happen. They have much bigger issues in the quarterback position. I don't know what Davante Adams would think about moving on from Derek Carr. Obviously, they've not been on the same page at moments this season. But at the same time, Davante Adams is having a good season, and he's tied with Travis Kelce for the league lead in touchdown receptions. However, maybe this is a sign that it's time to change things. Who knows? I will say this. This is a thing that I mentioned on the podcast last time with Alon.
Mm-hmm.
This, whatever about Derek Carr crying at the podium, I don't put a lot of stock into that just because I know Derek's very emotional. I'm not going to knock a man for crying. I am going to knock a man for lying, though. And Mark Davis and Josh McDaniels, to an extent, pushing out this narrative that this year is a rebuild is absolute bullshit. Josh McDaniels the next day saying, like, I know people want, instant success. Well, yes, that is the expectation when you go from a 10-7 season, make the playoffs, fire the coach that took you to that playoff season, and upgrade with Josh McDaniels. And then you trade for Davante Adams with a first and second round pick. That is upgrading. That is going to the next level. That is not a rebuild. So for Mark Davis to say Rome wasn't built in a day, sorry, that is just ridiculous because you're making it seem like this is John Gruden 2.0 again, and you're going to rebuild the whole team, and give him a chance. It's only been 9 games. That's bullshit. That is absolute bullshit. Stop treating the fans like they're idiots.
Yeah, Rome, and I can tell you that it wasn't built in a day, but it also wasn't built with the strategy of, okay, let's get halfway there, and then let's just knock everything down again, and let's start from the bottom, because you know what, halfway, it doesn't really seem like it's good enough as we're trying to build this. You know what? The Coliseum right now, you know what? Halfway done, but it's not exactly getting the circumference that we want. It's a little too small. So you know what? Let's knock it down. We're halfway through, but let's knock it down and let's build it again. And let's just keep on doing that until we find the right way to build it. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
You give a contract extension to your quarterback. You give one to your star defensive end. You give one to your tight end. You give one to a wide receiver. You trade for Adams, like you said. The only thing you haven't done really is pick up the option on Josh Jacobs, who you should eventually pay anyway, because that man is playing his heart out right now. And I hope he gets paid with some other team if the Raiders aren't willing to do that, because that man is playing for something and he's playing with the purpose. But like, for Mark Davis to say that, dude, yeah. Exactly. Why are you treating us like this? Like, fans know that this is not, you're not in a rebuilding stage when you trade for Adams. You're just not. No. That's if you're in a rebuilding stage, you're trading Carr. If you're in a rebuilding stage, you're trading away maybe Hunter Renfrow. I don't know. You're trading Darren Waller to the Packers to get more picks. You know what I mean? Like, that's what you're doing.
You shouldn't do any of that stuff, because I still believe that this team has enough talent on the offensive side of the ball. Do you need to rebuild the offensive line? Yes. Do you need to rebuild most of the defense? Yes. But you don't need to do a whole rebuild. This is ridiculous.
They're the first team to buy ever at the offseason, and they're in a rebuild. Like, no team ever buys anything in hopes to rebuild. Like, what are you talking about?
I said last podcast that if this is like if he's doing the Rome analogy, then this isn't Rome. Right now it's Pompeii with how the shit's gone this season. So this whole idea, like, and also the last time you did a rebuild, it sucked. You traded away Khalil Mack and Amari Cooper, and the only guy that really panned out was Josh Jacobs. Jonathan Abram off the team. Cleveland Farrell probably not going to re-sign with his team. He has as many sacks as Chandler Jones does right now.
Damon Arnett.
And yeah. cut. Henry Ruggs, that was a whole situation in its own, but he was cut. Alex Leatherwood, cut. It sucked. You don't need to do a rebuild. You just need a guy to inspire coaching into the players.
Yeah.
And I was kind of surprised the next day when Derek Carr and Devontae Adams said that they have a sigh of relief that they knowing that Josh McDaniels is going to be the head coach. But maybe that's actually for the best because they don't have to do this whole thing over again. But then again, you think, is Derek going to even be there? I don't know. And then the whole Bill Plaschke report that the Raiders are cash poor, that's been a thing for a long time. They've always been financially not stable. And you ask any organization, and they don't want to pay 3 head coaches from the past. You'd have to pay. They're still paying Jack Del Rio. You still have to pay, I'm assuming, John Gruden, and you would have to pay Josh McDaniels on his deal. So that would. I understand that fans wanted to change this week. Maybe it should have been Patrick Graham. Who knows? But I also believe that firing Josh McDaniels doesn't solve anything at the moment right now.
I don't think firing Patrick Graham does anything either. Like, it's just, okay, you fire defensive coordinator. What's next? I don't know. I think they're not going to make that move till the end of the season. At least give Patrick Graham a second half just to prove that he can actually do something. I'm sure there's talks behind closed doors there. But yeah, man, it's just terrible all around. There's nobody that inspires any confidence. Like Rock Ya-Sin, I don't see where he's any good. I was really excited for that pickup, and I thought he was okay with the Colts. Like, I thought it was like a necessary trade, but now, especially with Chandler Jones, but now Yannick Ngakoue is on his way to yet another season where he has 8 sacks. So you have that. Everyone on the defense, man. There's nobody on the defense that does anything, like, except for Nate Hobbs, who's currently on injured reserve right now. Trevon Merrick, I'm sorry, I still don't see where. I know it's his second year, but I don't see where the value is with him. I don't understand what he does well. It's not like I don't see him out there like making plays consistently. I don't know. Maybe he does other things in terms of coverages and all that. But yeah, man, it's just a total disappointment, a thorough disappointment. And I'm honestly at the point, Derek, where it's like, if McDaniels is going to be around for the next 3 or 4 years, well, it does not feel like that this is going to be a team right now that can win in the next 4 years, that are set up to win in the next 3 or 4 years. I know it's a lot to say, but like, man, they got to make some great draft picks. Number one, if they even have any available. They got to make some great draft picks. They got to sign somebody in the offseason. They need to offload Chandler Jones. I think he's on the back half of his career. I don't think he's going to do anything going forward. They got to make a lot of changes, man. And it's going to start with the offensive line first, in my opinion. It needs to start with the offensive line, and then you go to the defense, because you got way too many issues to solve just everywhere.
Yeah. Do you think, this is something I talked with Alon last week, was maybe they show you something at the end of the year, but then again, like, what does that matter at this point? They're 2-7. If we're judging on things from a year ago, then this team should have been better from a year ago. Just because you win a couple games down the stretch here doesn't mean that it's going to foreshadow what's going to happen next season. I don't know what the future holds for the Raiders. All I know is I've seen a lot of Raider football in my day, and I've seen a lot of teams that had a lot of hype and promise, and this one probably takes the cake. So I'm going to say, I hope I'm not being hyperbolic here, but I think this is the most disappointing Raider team of all time, to be perfectly honest. With the hype around them, with the expectations, I think this is utterly disappointing. And I'm even including, 2017 when they were coming off the 2016 season with, the playoff run. Well, no playoff run. They lost the first round. But just the expectations from that, and then, leaving for Vegas and having that announcement in the offseason, and expecting them to be a really good playoff team, and they just shit the bed that season. Of course, 2003 off the Super Bowl season, just a lot of disappointing seasons. But this one probably is the most. Like, a season ago, they had so much bullshit with Henry Ruggs and Damon Arnett and John Gruden. And this season is worse. And I don't know how that's possible.
Yeah. It's just in like the patience thing with a head coach. There are 2 that I want to point out here, where if you're a good football team, one head coaching change might be the difference, and also a trade for a big receiver. Talking number 1, the Dolphins, and I'm talking number 2, Number two, the Giants. Although the Giants didn't make like a trade for a big name receiver, the Giants just apparently had the piece. I don't know what the Giants did to make their roster that much better, but Brian Dable's that good of a head coach, I guess.
He just schemes it up, man.
Yeah.
They don't have like abundance of talent on offense right now.
No. So it's like if you're making a head coaching change, like you don't just wait a year. No, that head coach is meant to make an immediate difference along with their coordinators, but they don't. Like, I don't know what Mick Lombardi does. I'm pretty sure that's the name of the of the offensive coordinator, or not the offensive coordinator, the assistant, whatever, because McDaniels is calling the plays. Patrick Graham, like all these hires, it's meant to make an immediate difference. They are supposed to start winning now. It's not, let's wait a year and see how they pan out. No, like the way you set up Carr's contract, your trade for Davante Adams, you built the team the way you did. It's meant to win now, and they are not doing that. It's so frustrating, man. Like the Mike McDaniels thing. You know, this just aside. You know, I just want to get this take out there because I wanted to throw this at you. This has nothing to do with the Raiders. This is more just Mike McDaniel. Okay. Because I watched a little bit of the All 22 the other night. I was just going through the offense because NFL actually has it set up where you can go through each drive and you can actually just click on the drive and then just watch that one instead of having to go through the entire game, which is great. But I was watching all the offensive drives for the Dolphins, and just the way that they are so meticulous with everything that they do. Like McDaniel everyone is so bought in on what his plan is, and they trust him. And he's turned Tua Tagovailoa into a guy that looks like an MVP candidate right now. Like, that's how good Tua looks. I'm not saying he's going to be the MVP, but you could put him up there. That dude looks really good. Like, the throws that he's making, it's unreal with the way that he's making it. I actually think because he's a left-handed thrower, I think that makes it look a little weirder. Like, have you seen it where it's rotated, where it makes him look like a right-hander, and you're like, damn, some of these throws that he's making with the right hand, it looks a lot more impressive when it's right-handed as opposed to left-handed. But like, in the end, man, you're supposed to win now. And the way that the Dolphins do it, I wanted to throw this out there. Like, if the 49ers would have won that Super Bowl in 2019, maybe would have won it again last year. Like, if they would have won 2 Super Bowls when Shanahan and McDaniel were the offensive play caller, this is a huge if because it obviously didn't happen. It's a massive hypothetical. But, like, man, if they would have won, I don't know. I mean, if they would have won in 2019, I don't know if Mike McDaniel still would have been there in 2021, but let's just play it as if he was. We'd be looking at those head coaches as if they're like Bill Parcells and Bill Belichick. Like that's how we'd be looking at them, I think. Like, that's at least the start of
quite not the same relationship, but yeah.
Not the same relationship because they actually got along and all that. And, you know, the Shanahan hasn't tried to screw McDaniel out of a job. But, like, yeah, I'm just saying that we would have looked at them in this similar fashion in that, like, man, this head coach really does just create great coaches from offensive coordinators. And just like, you know, imagine those two together. I don't know. I was thinking like to the great head coaching coordinator duos where both ended up being fantastic head coaches. And like, I think Shanahan and McDaniel would have been on the way to that sort of conversation if they would have won those 2 Super Bowls.
It's possible, but I think Mike McDaniel still has a long way to go. But he's doing very well. In comparing one McDaniel to the other, one is having instant success and the other one is not. And
watch Josh McDaniels take off the S off his last name. He's like, this is gonna make me call plays better.
Yeah.
Dude, the way that the Dolphins use the fullback too, like, I'm so glad Alec Ingold is there. Because McDaniel knows how to use a fullback. Clearly, McDaniels is just using Jakob Johnson in a way that is not maximizing his potential. But like the way that McDaniel uses Ingold, it's the exact same way that Shanahan uses Juszczyk. It's insane watching that offense. The similarities there, like the amount of times that you see Ingold lining up in the Y position when you see him lining up there. And then you see him crossing the line of scrimmage with the outside zone run, and you see him blocking on the strong side or whatever, or blocking on the weak side, motioning to the strong side. Yeah, it's just crazy the types of similarities that you could see with the McDaniels offense and the Shanahan offense. The McDaniel, excuse me.
I think it's a huge move that they acquired Jeff Wilson Jr. because now they have a fantastic passing game. And now they're able to run between the tackles when they need to, if they, have to go to a game in Buffalo or what have you.
He had huge runs against Cleveland. Huge.
Yeah. All right. That's our spiel about the Raiders. I really don't know what to look forward to the rest of the season with them. Too little, too late. They're not eliminated from the playoffs, but it's, come on. At this point, it's a little too late.
It's really tough on us Raider fans, huh, Derek?
I said it last week, Steven. Our last podcast, I should say. I just had so much hope. And Alexander Scott put it best in a text to me last weekend. He goes, damn, if you were still a diehard fan, how would you have handled this loss? And I was like, I don't know. I probably would have broken shit. Like I am not the same fan I used to be because I don't feel the same stress and anxiety and anger like I do before. But I'm disappointed. I really am, because I know you want to see them win. It's weird for me, I am not attached to them like I used to be because of the whole Vegas thing, but I still would love to see them have success. I still root for Derek Carr. I still, somewhere deep down inside me, I still bleed silver and black, but it's just not the same. And I just got tired of it. And Mark Davis is a joke to me. So I don't care.
That's the sick part, man. That's the sick part, is that even though there's plenty around who are like you, although I don't believe you, there are plenty around like you. I still think you feel that anxiety. You just don't want to admit it. But there are plenty of fans like you.
Do you see me tweeting every play now? Like back in the day, I was like, "Oh God!"
Yeah, that's true. It's so, out of all the teams, like I want to see England win the World Cup terribly, like so bad. I get very passionate when England's in the World Cup. Very passionate. It's life or death. I don't know if you saw me in the studio the last time, but I was like, well, the show's over at 10. I'm not going to leave it for an 11 o'clock start. And it was England, Colombia. That was just, but anyway, I want to see them win a World Cup more than any team. Like when Ernie asked earlier, like, is it USA England split jersey? No, you'll find you haven't seen me on air during a World Cup time, Ernie. But this is when Spadoni starts calling me Benedict Langford because I start rooting for England hardcore over the USA.
For Queen and country.
For King and country now. Hardcore. Well, I'm diehard England fan, right?
But it's a nice dedication because she passed, Stephen. Good Lord.
Hey, they have to say God Save the King now. They have to sing that.
No, you don't.
Yeah, they do.
It could be a nice tribute for the Queen.
No, they sing. Well, you can't now because she's not around. So they do it for the King because the King
can save himself. Anyway.
I mean, yeah. All right. Anyway. I want to see them win.
It's okay in the Queen.
but I want to see number 2 is the Raiders. My favorite teams have all won. Warriors, Giants. Hell, I'd like to see the A's win. There's a part of my heart that's, that loves the A's because of my mom and dad and them, kind of raising me to try to be an A's fan. Then Barry Bonds took over when I was a kid. I don't have that hatred in my heart to the A's.
They failed.
I would have liked them to see them win a World Series in Oakland too. But
yeah,
this Raider team, I decided, you know what? I took a year off and I said, you know what? I can't. I can't not watch this team. I love them too much. I want to see them win a Super Bowl more than anything. And it's just when you feel like you're on the track in the off season, when you're on the right track, and then it's just, you're off the track now. It turns into Cool Runnings with the Jamaican team where Junior Beville trips and falls over and then he knocks everyone else over. That's what it's like. McDaniels is the Junior Beville right now. He trips and fell on the right track and he's knocked down Devontae, Carr, Crosby, and Waller, who are all running alongside him.
It's a great analogy.
Yeah. And then and you got me. I'm Senka Coffee over here. Like, kiss the egg for good luck.
That's how I think we'll remember this season. The Raiders were so disappointing. It was like Cool Runnings. Not the movie itself, but just when they fell.
Just the beginning, just when they tripped over and everyone thought their lives were over because all they wanted to do was run in track and field. But then John Candy came around and said, hey, Jamaica, we have a bobsled team.
That's what the Raiders need, is a nice John Candy to get this ragtag team of Jamaicans in the right spot.
You want to kiss my egg? I'm not kissing no egg.
All right, Steven. Should we pick some games?
Oh, man.
By the way, So I did the 6-wing thing last weekend with the Atomic Wings. Because I owed you and Alon some payback for my losses in the pick'em. And I'm gonna say that I usually can handle Atomic Wings, but not anymore. So I'm sad to say this. I officially retire from Wingstop Atomic Wings because I just can't I can't take that amount
So
of.
we're no longer doing wins or wangs, right?
No, I mean we still can, but that will be one spice that's left off of my palate from now on.
Jesus.
I need a whole lot of Continental wipes. Anyway.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But I saw you in the Tickle My Butthole Fantasy Football League. You got you were the short man this week with the lowest amount of
Yeah, that was my
points.
worst fantasy performance I've had all year. It's terrible.
But I like what you did. You took a nice beer and you took a little the last dab and put it in the beer and drank it. I like that. And I don't have any hot sauce on me right now, Steven, but I like that so much, and I think that's what we'll do going forward. I like that move, and I don't have hot sauce on me today, so I did lose last week. So you beat me. You actually beat me by a lot. But next week, I will have a beer in my hand, and I will have some hot sauce, and I will drink said beer.
Okay. All right. Sounds good, dude. That league is whew. Okay, real quick. Actually, I like Ernie's thing here. Let's make this before we pick our games. Let's pick the player who is destined to go off against the Raiders today. Who has been struggling so far this season? I mean, Russell Wilson's the key candidate. Russell Wilson might be the number one guy, but they already had a. Did they already have a matchup with against the Broncos?
Yeah.
Yeah. Russell Wilson didn't do too much. He had a couple of nice throws in that game.
I can see Courtland Sutton having a good game today.
Yeah, the Raiders won that game. Yeah. Yeah, Courtland Sutton's kind of a
So who's gonna have their Raider resurgence game today?
Yeah, who's gonna be the one that
on the opposition?
Courtland Sutton's a great candidate. He's only had one touchdown on the season. That number's gonna be 3 by the end of this game.
Possibly.
Man, that's actually that's a
or Melvin Gordon. Or Patrick Surtain gets a pick.
Ooh, I like that. I think Sutton's the best candidate there. This dude is poised.
Put me down for a Courtland Sutton touchdown today.
6 receptions on 11 targets for 66 yards last week. 1 reception on 4 targets for 13 yards the week prior. 3 receptions on 9 targets for 23 yards.
Sounds like a winning formula today.
This dude is going to be having the most efficient game of his season. It's going down against the Raiders today. So Courtland Sutton, I guess we've come to an agreement.
Courtland Sutton. All right.
So ends our segment. Who's poised for a breakout game against the Raiders today? Now let's get started with wins
or wangs. All right, Steven. You beat me last week. You beat me last week, and I need to catch up to you. So let's see what I could do here today. We kick things off with Week 11 in Hotlanta with the Chicago Bears going to the Falcons. The Falcons are 2.5-point favorites, and the over/under is at 48.5.
You go pick. You pick first.
All right. I think the Chicago Bears are a fun team to watch, but I don't like their defense right now, and they give up a lot of points. They pissed away that game last week against the Detroit Lions. So while they score a lot of points, they also give up a lot of points. And I'm going to take the Atlanta Falcons to win today. They need to get off the schneid because they've had 10 days to prepare for this one because their last game was on Thursday night a week ago. So I'm taking the Atlanta Falcons to win. I'm going to lay the points, and I'm going to go over.
You know what's interesting is the Bears' defense, though, is ranked in like the top 5 in like yards allowed and rushing yards allowed and receiving yards allowed. You know they're hovering around there. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, but how many points have they given up? They're probably like on the lower end.
Quite a bit.
Yeah.
Looks like they're giving up 24.7 points per game, which is just below the Falcons. Yeah, I agree with you. I'm going to go over in this one, and the reason I asked you to go is because I wanted to check the injury report just in case there's anything crazy going on.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I am going to Yeah, I'm going to lay the points with the Falcons, and I'll take the over.
All right. We're simpatico on that one. Mm-hmm. Then you got the Carolina Panthers going to the Baltimore Ravens, and the Ravens are a big, stinky 13-point favorite, and the over-under is 41.5. Steven?
They're a stinky 13-point favorite?
That's a lot of stinky points.
That is a lot of stinky points. Yeah, I went back and forth on this one. I don't know. I really don't know whether to take, because I'm going to take the Ravens to win, obviously. But the question is, are the Panthers going to cover? I'm going to say no. I'll say the Ravens just blow them out at home. And you know what? Give me the give me the over. Just give me the over.
I'm going to go with that as well. So far, we're the same on everything. Then we got the Washington Commanders, or the Commies. They got a huge win in Philadelphia last week, upsetting the undefeated Eagles. And Taylor Heinicke's still going to be quarterback. I think Carson Wentz is healthy, but I'm not entirely sure about that one. Regardless, I know who's not healthy. Chase Young. He has been activated, but he will not play today against the Texans. The Commies are 3-point favorites, and the over-under is at 41.5.
I am going to take the under in this one, and I am going to and you know what? I think this could be a close game. I think the Texans can make this a close game, but give me the Commanders to win, but I'll take the Texans to cover.
I am going to straight up pick the Texans. There's always a chance that a team that has a huge win on a Monday Night Football game, then having to go on the road again, has a big downfall. So I'm going to take the Texans to get their second win of the season, and I'm taking that under.
Okay.
All right. And then we got the Jeff Saturday sequel this week going up against the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles are 6.5-point favorites, and they just added Linval Joseph and Ndamukong Suh to put in the middle of their already beefy defensive line to stop the run. So while Jonathan Taylor went off last week against the Raiders, probably chances are he's not going to rush for a lot of yards today. Or maybe he will. Who knows? That's the beauty of football. So the Eagles are 6.5-point favorites, and the over-under is at 45.5.
Yeah, I'll take the Eagles, lay the points with the Eagles as well. I would even say that when it was originally 7.5 in which it opened, so clearly money was going in on the Colts there. And the over-under is tricky with this one, but I'll just go under, just because I don't know if it's going to be a high-scoring game.
Yeah, I'm going under as well. All right, then we got but I'm taking the same thing as you, Philadelphia Eagles and the points. Rams going to New Orleans. If you would have told me about this game before the season started, I said this probably is a fancy, nice game, but But it is not. It is a stinky game with the disappointing Rams, the disappointing Saints. And Andy Dalton's still going to get the start for the Saints, even though Jameis Winston losing the job is hurting his soul, as he put it. And Matthew Stafford is coming back. He cleared concussion protocol, but we will not see Cooper Kupp for the foreseeable future, so it's going to be a Van Jefferson, Allen Robinson type of game. And the Saints are 2.5-point favorites, and the over-under is at 39.
I think that number is super low. I'm going to go over, just because I think these two teams can score 39 points, and I'm going to lay the points, though, with the Saints. I think the Saints are going to crush them.
Oh, wow. I am going the other way. The Rams need a win. Big time. So I'm going to take the Rams to win, and I'm also going to go over. I actually think it's going to be a high-scoring game.
That's a risky move, taking the Rams right there.
It's risky, and I know Cooper Kupp is not playing, but I don't know.
Weird things happen in the NFL.
Weird things happen in the NFL, and you got to believe that, I don't know. I mean, Sean McVay's got to scheme it up a little bit to find a way to score points without Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
It's risky, I know. This game could go either way, honestly.
What is it, the Ewing theory you're thinking? Like, where it's like, if Cooper Kupp's not on the team, well, you know what? He might have to draw up plays without having to focus on Cooper Kupp. Maybe we're going to get these guys open. Maybe that's the first
time
the
Ewing.
Robinson.
That's the Ewing's philosophy?
No, not really. I forgot what it was that Bill Simmons wrote, but essentially it was that the Knicks were better without Ewing on the team.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So it's not going to be the Ewing theory exactly with Cooper Kupp, but we've seen it time and time again where it's like the main focal point of the offense is gone from the team. You wonder what they're going to do, but then like the head coach, like you said, schemes up things in a way that maybe benefits other players.
Yeah, maybe we'll see what happens. That's why I picked them. Lions at the Giants. Mm-hmm. The Giants are 3-point favorites, and the over/under is at 44.5.
Yeah, this is a good one. I'm going to.
Is it a good one?
Yeah, this is no, not really. I'll lay the points with the Giants. I think they're going to win and win convincingly, but I'm going to take the under.
All right. I'm going to go over on this one. I think the Lions can put some points up. And while the Giants don't have an amazing offense, I think they could score on this Lions defense today on the road. Then you got what should have been a snow game, but it goes to Detroit, and the Browns are playing Buffalo, and the Bills are 8-point favorites. The over/under is at 50.
I think the Bills are win. I think the Browns are going to cover, and I'm going to take the under.
I'm going to take the Bills to win, but I'm going to lay the points. I think that in the Dome, the Bills should put some points up with that offense. And I'm going to go over because this game is in a Dome now. I think both teams are going to score a lot of points.
Oh, that's right. It's in the Dome. Oh, well, I didn't take that into account. That's my fault.
You want to change your pick then?
Yeah, give me the over.
All right then.
I'll keep the Browns covering and the Bills winning, but just give me the over. Yeah.
Then you got the Jets at the New England Patriots. The Patriots beat the Jets earlier this season. The Patriots are 3.5-point favorites, and the over/under is at 38.
Oh God, you gotta. I'm going with the Patriots again. I'm going with the Patriots again, keeping it with the Patriots, and I'm going to lay the points with them as well. And I think the over is going to hit. Screw it.
All right. I think the over hits, but I think the Jets are going to finally beat the Patriots. Both teams coming off a bye, but I don't know. I may be crazy, but damn it, I'm going to take those Jets today.
It's a big game for the Pats, though, man. Big game.
I know.
They win this game.
I know. But
God,
the Jets, I got to start buying into the Jets.
Dude, imagine if the Bills lose. If the Bills lose, they go 6-4. Then if the Jets lose, they go 6-4, and then the Pats would be 6-4. That's crazy.
Craziness in the AFC East. I think the Bills have to win today.
They absolutely do.
Yeah. So, but I got to start giving credit to the Jets too. They beat the Bills and they beat the Dolphins. Of course, that was with Skylar Thompson at quarterback, but I got to start giving some credit. And I think eventually the Jets got to beat the Patriots. So I think today will be that day. All right. Then we got the Vegas Raiders going to the Denver Broncos. Raiders have usually been favorites in most of their games this season, but not today. The Broncos are 3-point favorites, and the over/under is at 41.5.
Lay the points with the Broncos. Broncos are going to win and take the over because it's going to be a shootout. But Russell Wilson, Cortland Sutton going to cook them. So lay the points with the Broncos.
Just when you think this team is at its lowest low, somehow they'll bring you back in. And I'm a sucker every week. I'm taking the Raiders to win, but I'm going to go under. I think it's going to be a very low-scoring game. This could be like 16-13.
It's a terrible pick by you.
We'll see. I could be right.
Yep.
Then you got the Cincinnati Bengals going to the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Bengals are 3.5-point favorites, and the over/under is at 40.
Ooh. God, that number's at 3.5 now, huh? Oof.
Yep.
God, originally it was at 4.5. You know what? I'll take the over there, and I'll lay the points with the Bengals. I think the Bengals take care of them, handle them at home.
I'm going to do the same. And then we got a surprising one. Cowboys at the Vikings. It's surprising because the Vikings are, what are they, 8-1 this season?
Yep.
And they're home underdogs to the Cowboys for whatever reason. The Cowboys are 1.5-point favorites, and the over/under is at 48.5. But I question what Vegas sees and why the Cowboys are favorites today.
Yeah, that's I don't really see either. I don't really get it. It doesn't have to do with an injury or whatever.
No.
But no, I'm gonna take the Vikings to win. Both teams just went through a really tough overtime matchup. And I mean, so it's not like there's any advantage there. It's not like, the Vikings had an easy game against the Bills. It's like, oh yeah, all right. But no, I'll lay the point, or I'll take the Vikings to win, and I'll take the over.
I'm gonna do the same, and I wonder. I'm sure that's probably gonna change before kickoff. Like, I'm just not enough people betting the Vikings. That's crazy to me.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah.
Anyway, Sunday night game: Kansas City Chiefs at the Los Angeles Chargers. Second week in a row, the Chargers are on Sunday Night Football, and their favorite, or the Chiefs, are 5.5-point favorites, and the over/under is at 52.5.
I'm going to take the Chargers to cover. I think the Chiefs are going to win, but if they get Keenan Allen or Mike Williams back, I think it makes a world of difference.
They probably
last week in the first half, Justin Herbert looked to being like Justin Herbert again, and then in the second half was just completely shut down because the 49ers defense got after him. But I'm going to take Herbert to cover.
Over?
Oh, yeah. I mean, just give me the over in this game.
Yeah,
of course.
I'm going to take the Chargers to flat out win. The Chiefs are without today Juju Smith-Schuster, still recovering from the concussion, and they'll be without Mecole Hardman. So I think that benefits the Chargers. And I think the Chargers are getting their weapons back, and Mike Williams and Keenan Allen. So, Chargers always play the Chiefs hard. They lost to them earlier this season, but they're capable of beating them. They had a fantastic overtime game a year ago against them in L.A. So I'm going to take the Chargers to win, and I'm going to go over on that one.
Are the Chiefs undefeated in the division right now? I think they are.
Yes, they have yet to lose a game in that division.
Boy.
And then the Monday night game in Mexico City, the San Francisco 49ers play the Arizona Cardinals. Second time these two teams have played in Mexico City. They played 13 years ago. First international game in the NFL back then. And nothing really new with both teams, except for the fact that we don't know if Kyler Murray's going to play in this game. He's still got that hamstring injury. Could be Colt McCoy, and honestly, I think the team kind of plays a little better with Colt McCoy currently. Not saying that Colt McCoy is a better quarterback, but I just think that he leads them better. That's all I got to say about that. But I don't think it matters. I think in the end, the Niners are going to win this game. So I'm going to take the Niners to win. The Niners are 8-point favorites, and the over/under is at 43.5. I'm going to take the Niners. I'm going to lay those points, and I'm going to take the over.
Yeah, I'm going to do the same thing. I don't really see like this game could be close, but I see it also being a very high scoring one. But I think the Niners are going to crush them. I think the Niners are on their way too. I think they're finally realizing, like, okay, like we don't care about that first half of the season. Now this second half of the season, this is where we just get in, like, to the playoffs. This is our time. And, with the Seahawks on a bye week, this is a perfect opportunity to take over. So
I will say this, Niner fans, if you're expecting this team to score 30 points every week, you're going to be sadly disappointed. It's still not going to be a high-flying offense, in my opinion. Just because you get Christian McCaffrey doesn't mean that they're going to start throwing the ball up and down the field. They're just going to run the ball more efficiently, and that could lead to more points. That could lead to less points. I just think it's going to lead to more time of possession. But you're still got Jimmy Garoppolo at quarterback. It's not like things are going to change overnight where they're going to start beating teams 41-10. I don't think that's going to happen. That's just my opinion.
Nah, I don't think so either. But
saw a lot of disappointing Niner fans after that win over the Chargers. I'm like, well, they won the game. What did you expect?
But I want to see, what I want to see, though, is the next step. Like, we know Shanahan can, scheme up plays to where they're taking up time of possession, and then they, take a 11-minute drive that goes 75 yards and sometimes ends in a touchdown, sometimes ends in a field goal. But I also want to see, though, like what this offense looks like, how Kyle Shanahan draws things up when they're down by multiple scores.
Yeah, true.
And, how they respond there, because we haven't seen that yet. Although the Chargers game was kind of an indicator, but the defense was just giving them so many opportunities. Like, I think they all kind of knew that we could keep on going with the same style that we're going with here. But if the defense is having an off night, like, that's what I want to see, is what this offense looks like. Probably not going to happen on Monday night, but not a high chance of it actually happening through the season. They got a pretty easy back half of the schedule here, but I want to see what it looks like if they are down 2 scores and the defense just doesn't look like it could get the stops that it normally can in the second half.
And there you have it. Those are our picks for Week 11. And yeah, great show as always, Stephen. I am going to run to the old Oakland Athletic Club. You have a good day, sir, whatever you're doing while you watch the games. We will not be doing a show next week. Thanksgiving. Let's all just chill and have a good time. Steve and I will be back next Sunday. That good with you?
Yeah, of course.
All right, then. Everybody have a good holiday with your family and everything, and enjoy the World Cup. I think Ecuador is up 2-0 right now, so you'll have a whole full slate of soccer during the week, and then you got football, then you got college football, and some basketball. Will be a good Thanksgiving for everybody. So, Stephen, happy Thanksgiving to you.
Nice little weekend. Happy Thanksgiving, man.
All right, man. And say what you always say, my friend.
Oh, it's just our opinion.